Hi. Okay, so the thing you gotta do is you gotta solve homophobia.
Citizen. Name's
No, I know. Why are you threatening Virgil, man? No, it was you. I found an incomplete letter to him in your quarters.
Look, I haven't been at my best lately. I know that. It's the rheumatism. It starts with constant pain in all your joints. Then the pain starts to mess with your head. Makes you angry, mean. I know that's not an excuse for how I acted. But it's the truth. But with the willow bark, I'm already starting to feel like myself again. I'll leave him alone from now on. It's not as if I was ever going to hurt him anyway. I was just lashing out. I'm going to go and clean up the graffiti. Just forget this ever happened. Will you?
Alright. What's up, Galerius? What do you think about Golem Roll?
I'll tell you this much.
Just to make sure we have it locked.
Survival depends on the common sense of other people.
What do you mean? I know the feeling. I've lived through a pandemic. What do you mean?
I mean, all these people just bumble along like nothing's wrong. While we're one bad decision away from being wiped out. Like the last lot of people who lived here. Seems like I'm the only one ready for what's coming. Whatever that is. And when it hits, it's everyone for themselves. You've been warned.
What do you think is coming?
I don't know. But did you ever get the feeling some of these statues are watching us when we're not looking? Like they're waiting for something. I don't like it.
I think you're right.
That doesn't help me.
Alright, now we've got that on lock. So this does mean we are gonna have 100% of this fucking game.
Greetings and salutations.
Ah, a new face. I hear we...
Don't worry about the threats, it's just Rufius, he's never gonna hurt you.
What demon or spirit told you about that?
Found an incomplete note in his house.
You went snooping in his place? That was risky. We're lucky you didn't cross any lines. Have you spoken to him about it?
Yes, he won't be bothering you anymore.
Really? How did you manage that?
Found a treatment for his rheumatism, which is making him agitated and compounding some other personal issues.
Poor fellow. I've heard that can really mess with a person's head. Well done for figuring that out.
Happy to help. I think he wants to help clean up the graffiti too.
Really? That's promising. I'll keep an eye out for him.
Alright.
Nice to talk to you.
Ah, a fellow traveler from a faraway land. Greetings.
We good. Catch you on the other side. No, I can tell, cause look.
Citizen.
Ugh.
A new face. Arve and May Vesta.
Gotta talk about the I found my way into the Great Temple.
You did? I'm impressed. What did you find in there?
The Roman temple leads to a Greek temple, which leads to an Egyptian temple, which leads to a Sumerian temple, which leads to the god of the underworld.
Wait, what? Sumerian? As in east of the Euphrates, where Babylon is? Let me see if I understand you.
Our ancestors built over the Greeks' temple, copied their religion, and changed their god's name from Hades to Pluto. But the Greeks had done much the same thing to the Egyptians, and the Egyptians had done the same things to the Sumerians before them. If that's true, then I've spent my whole life serving a goddess who may well have been a copy of a copy of a copy. It's no wonder I never felt like my prayers to Vesta were answered. All that time. Who was I even talking to? Did I even know her name?
God within the temple seems he's the last one. The rest were here once, but they've moved on.
I see. That is a lot to take in. I think I would like to be alone now, if you don't mind. Ave again.
We're going to talk about escaping the underworld. If
oh
he was
my.
right, we're in the underworld.
Let's see.
Just
If that is indeed
piling on the
case,
revelations
I
today.
suppose we'd better figure out what to do about it, hadn't we? We don't have Hercules. So-
We've done all this. So more about confronting Pluto head on.
It's everyone's.
Yeah.
That option would, as I said, Hercules managed.
I have a few tricks up my
I'll
sleeve.
admit, you do. So, who knows? Perhaps, but first, you'd need an orc.
We've done that.
Problem is, I suspect it look if. As I meant, it is if the problem.
Okay. I've already found a way out.
Then why are you still here?
Because that path will result in the deaths of nearly everyone here, and I don't want that.
Ah, I see. Then it seems you have made a great sacrifice for all of us, friend. I admire your compassion. Truly. Thank you. But unfortunately, I'm afraid your only other option will be to confront you-know-who.
Better get back to it then.
Juna guide you.
Alright, now...
Be careful who you trust. Salve, friend.
We're gonna lay down a little save here. No, it's Galerius has done all the stuff. No, she'll be fine. We'll get to her in a minute.
And here you are. Allow me to introduce myself. Naga.
No, I know. What's your story, though? Now
Of
I've
course.
absorbed all the information. Let's talk about
That
the
is me-
golden rule, fucko. What do you consider a
I've
sin?
always- Do you plan to speak in sweeping
Experiments on the
the
statues.
midwife and the pal? The ru- Now, do you? I should. Now. Very well. Good. When
If that...
how? Enough. Why?
Okay, now we're back.
Your hubris is amusing, so I will allow you to make your case. But if you... So,
Golden rule is corrupting the city.
how so? And be specific.
Rufus has become so paranoid he's jumping at shadows like Virgil's sexuality.
He is a volatile and confused fellow, that one.
Okay.
Pathetic. You...
How can you expect us to live without sin if you can't do it yourself?
That is a very serious accusation, mortal. What sin have I committed? What evidence do you have to support it?
You've given terrible punishments to hundreds of people, some for minor sins and some who committed no sins at all.
Every one of those people was guilty of failing to ensure their peers lived virtuously. They failed collectively, and so they were punished collectively. The Romans understand this, as did the Greeks before them.
If our positions were reversed, you wouldn't want me to punish you for the sins of other people.
Ah, but I'm a god, and you are a mortal. Why would you expect me to treat you as I treat my own kind? You are not a peer. You are not a respected equal. Let me ask you this. Do you treat insects as you wish to be treated? Do you care for their well-being as you would your fellow man? Do you ensure they have food and shelter and protection from predators? Do you give them rights?
Yes. No.
Of course not. Because that would be absurd. Just as it would be absurd for me to treat your kind as equals.
What makes your kind superior to mine?
Where to begin? Our lifespans exceed yours by thousands of years, in which time we accumulate vast wisdom and a mastery of technology you cannot begin to imagine.
Why does wisdom and technology make you superior?
Because that is the source of our power over you.
So you think you're not obliged to treat us fairly because you're more powerful than us?
You could say that.
What was it the Roman Stoics said? Treat your inferior as you would wish your superior to treat you?
My kin have no superiors.
Okay, neither of these options actually show up as the next. Didn't you say Jupiter was your leader? There's a hierarchy within your kin.
That is true. Go on.
So are you treating humans the way you would wish Jupiter to treat you?
Make your point, mortal.
I'm saying, if you can't follow your own rule, how can you expect humans to?
Let me ponder that for a moment. If you are right, then it would follow that all this time I have been in the wrong. But no. The very thought of it grieves me. How can I accept your argument when doing so would make me a tyrant and a monster?
You're not a monster, you're a human and you've made a mistake.
Wait, what? What are you saying?
Humans make mistakes, it's in our nature.
You have spoken eloquently, and yet, if what you say is true, it follows that my wager was fatally flawed from the beginning. But that would mean Jupiter, Proserpina's father, who knew more about you than anyone, proposed a wager I could never win. Why would he do that?
Perhaps he made a mistake too?
A mistake? But he's the best and greatest of us.
Perhaps when you took on human forms, you took on some human foibles as well.
Your words sting me, mortal. But perhaps it is what I deserve. As difficult as this is to admit, I have suspected as much for a long time now. And I cannot deny it any longer. I've been so fixated on taking my beloved to Elysium that every time one of you sinned, it wore away my hope of being with her again. In time, I began to despise your kind for making her believe that you could ever be better than you are. But my rage was not born of malice. Quite the opposite. Everything I have done, I did because I loved her. Who knew this empathy of yours, which you celebrate so much, could have such a dark underside? This has gone on too long. It is time for me to let go of this form, of her, of all of you. But know this, if I abandon the wager and leave for Elysium, neither she nor your kind may ever ascend.
We just want to return to the world.
Very well. I will have Charon make arrangements to ferry the others.
There we go.
But as for you, be aware you will be separated from the rest.
Why?
Once this exodus begins, the events that brought you to this moment will never have taken place, and you will have created a paradox. What will become of you is difficult to predict, but that is the risk you have taken by interfering in the natural flow of time.
I mean, I was kind of press-ganged into
Are
it, but
you
okay.
ready?
Yeah, let's do it.
Farewell, mortal.
Oh. Hi there. Gave me a bit of a fright.
Hello. I was hoping you'd know who I am.
Know who you are. I barely remember how I got here myself. Oh, did that lady in the forest send you in here after me? I guess I lost track of time. I'm fairly certain you and I are the first. Fortunately for us, the last person in here was a Roman man named Galerius, who inscribed an account into a tablet. Apparently, there was a community of 20-something people trapped in here, and living in fear of a curse they called the Golden Rule. They believed that if even one person sinned, an unknown god would cast them all into gold, like the 1,000 people who'd lived here before them. Then, one day, just as Galerius had finished praying for a good harvest at the shrine of Proserpina, an oracle appeared and told him how to solve the ills of the city, like saving the life of a dying woman, preventing the suicide of a man in debt bondage, freeing a falsely accused prisoner, foiling an assassination attempt, and so on. Meanwhile, the oracle walked up to the temple of the mysterious god, this one right here, and demanded an audience. And the doors just opened up to him. Nobody knows what went on in there, but Galerius wrote the oracle must have been more persuasive than Odysseus, because the next thing he knew, the ground shook, and the voice of that god rang out over the city. The many have suffered long enough. Unfortunately, Galerius' account just sort of stops after that, leaving a lot of questions unanswered. What became of him, and the other people who lived here? What happened to all the golden statues? And did this mysterious oracle single-handedly undo the curse that had terrorized people for hundreds of years?
That was me.
What? Oh, I see. Anyway,
Okay, so
I think I
this
found
is-
a way out.
This is all stuff we saw before.
You're back! Why do...
I remember meeting you 2,000 years ago.
I see. I thought you might. Well, now you know. I suppose you have questions. You can just call me...
Yeah, we've done this.
That you died. I see no point in keeping you here. But I have to ask one thing. That you keep this to yourself.
Look! Here comes Al now. Al! It's so good to see you.
And there was a tablet describing an oracle who confronted a god and undid an ancient curse.
Sounds like quite a story. You two look
Sounds good to me.
And you?
Why even give me the option if you're not going to give me the option? No, I want to stay, idiots. Fuck you. What he actually sounds like is probably an Australian man trying to do a American accent.
Hey, you made it. It's great to see you again.
Because this game is an Australian product, I believe. Okay, so yeah, here we are. Except now there's more dudes, because we saved everybody.
You're finally here. Remember me?
Hilarious.
It's a crazy story. After you disappeared, Charon appeared and told us she was returning us to the world. Even gave us some coins to help us start our lives over. Only, for some reason, she returned us to your world instead of ours. Anyway, I know we only ever had that one conversation, and I wasn't even sure if you'd remember me, but I wanted to say thanks for freeing us from the underworld and giving us a second chance.
And most importantly, giving us a second chance in a world that has flushing toilets. It's so important.
Oh, I used...
Okay, so we've... yeah.
We're planning... Of course, there's a whole museum...
Done that.
Oh, hello.
You're here.
Good to see you
So,
too.
you're the hero who somehow I'm just teasing. Galerius and I are engaged and expecting. We're just... Oh, it's sweet of you to ask. See...
Hello.
Yeah, we did a lot of this yesterday, but... Hey look, there's extra people here now.
You're the Oracle, right?
Yes! Ren is fine.
Oh, of course. Sorry. And I never got a chance to thank you for telling Galerius how to save my life. And of course, getting me and all of us out of a terrible situation.
What are you doing with yourself these days?
Oh, I barely recognize myself. I'm living in a house share in London with my wonderful girlfriend. And I'm studying English at university. Eventually I want to travel the world and write about it. Turns out, it's about 30 times bigger than the Roman Empire ever was. Did you know there are entire continents Rome never knew existed? And you can travel almost anywhere in an aircraft, which is rather like flying on a Pegasus, but much more comfortable. Oh, sorry, you already know all that, of course. I'm just so excited. There's so much to see and learn and write about.
Seeing the world through fresh eyes sounds wonderful.
I have noticed people from your time have no idea how fortunate they are. I hope to change that. One day.
Whatever happened to Malleolus and Claudia?
Last I heard, Malleolus kept insisting he was the last rightful ruler of the Roman Empire, and wound up being committed to a psychiatric hospital. As for Claudia, She was always so viciously unhappy. Someone said she'd blown all her money on wine, trying to drink herself back to the underworld. After the horrific way they treated Ulpius and me, I can't help feeling a sense of... what's that German word? Schadenfreude?
I think you're allowed to feel that way.
Thank you. You're very kind.
Whatever happened to Aurelia?
Ugh. Someone told me she was boasting about getting her claws into some rich prince, and how she was going to be living the high life from now on. Even in your time, life still isn't fair. Apparently he'd proposed before they'd even met, and last I heard she'd bought herself a first-class one-way ticket to join him in some exotic place called... what was it? Nigeria? Some people have all the luck.
As the Oracle, I foresee terrible disappointment in her future.
Really? Huh. I feel better already. Thank you.
It's good to see you again, Yulia.
You too! If you're ever in London, let me know. We can go to bars and drink wine and listen to the stories of the 9 million people who live there.
Take you up on that.
I hope so.
Yeah.
You are here. It's Lucy.
What's up?
If the speaking of, I'm studying to when it ended. You too.
Okay.
Hey.
Hi there, I'm Horatius. I'm the step the suppose what is
I take it you're the Oracle? Actually, I'm not sure if she knew right away what none of us had figured out about that psychopath. He'd been but he's been dealt with. Anything I want. Of course. He's
Okay, now we're caught up. Extra folks! Extra folks! We saved all the extra folks.
Hello.
Greetings, my friend. It
Why?
is a sincere pleasure to see you
I did
once
kill
again.
all the dialogue for her.
I am told we have you to thank for... I am reacquainting myself with Grace.
Hello.
Perhaps, I hope... You too...
You're the one we've been waiting for. I'm Fabia. I
Hello.
wanted to say thanks for sending Galerius to save my life. I don't know how you knew, but I would have been crushed by that shrine for sure.
You're welcome.
I'm
What
just
part
so
of it
happy
was
to be here
so difficult?
With you and everyone together again, even if it's just for one more night.
What are you doing with yourself these
Well,
days?
it's not like I have to work with all the silver Charon gave me, so I just do what makes me happy. Mostly that means baking for my friends and looking at memes while binging TV shows in yoga pants. What a time to be alive.
I'm glad you're happy.
Thank you. I really am. You too.
I take it you're the Oracle everybody's I never... and it's... I'm working... Not that... My son...
Some soiree, innit? Oh, hello. Listen, whatever... I can't... Oh, don't be... Oh, of course. Of course.
Good evening.
Oh, hello. It's lovely to... but... after... I just want... Thank... And you? Oh, wonderful.
We meet again.
They do recognize when you talk to them in the last loop.
Thank you for your kind words and
for liberating us all. In all the time I was in the underworld, I never once imagined that I might end up in a place so much like Elysium.
What are you doing with yourself these days?
I'm recovering.
Okay, so we have this is not anything.
And you...
It is an honor to finally meet you, Oracle.
Thanks, Kavash.
You know my name. Oh, of course. You are an Oracle. You know many things. I too would like to offer my thanks for releasing us from that place, and for your role in bringing us here. This world is truly wondrous.
What are you doing with yourself these days?
For a time, I returned to Alexandria, but they have no need of another fisherman. And
I don't know what you want me to explain,
there is nothing for me there. Instead, I have decided to follow the custom of your youths and backpack the world. It is a great adventure, and I have met many people from many cultures. I spent the first 25 years of my life avoiding the 42 sins that would deny me access to the afterlife. Now, I think it is time I had some fun.
Sounds like you've earned it.
Indeed. Thank you, Oracle.
Hello there.
Ah, Scintilla.
Oh, I go by Gabriella now. I didn't want to be reminded of that monster every time I heard my own name. After you drove Pluto off, Proserpina came and released me, and that monster got what was coming to him.
Sounds like he got what he deserved. What are you doing with yourself these days?
I'm living with Ulpius on a little vineyard in Umbria. It's even more wonderful than I dreamed it would be. I'm so grateful to you for making sure he's still with us. If you're ever passing through the region, I hope you'll come and visit us. You can try some of our very own wine.
Might just do that. Good to see you again.
Thanks. You too.
It's nice to finally put a face to the name. I'm Ulpius.
Good to see you too,
I understand
Ulpius.
I have you to thank for sending Galerius to save my life. The way you just showed up out of the blue and stopped me from making a terrible mistake. I'll be forever in your debt.
What are you doing with yourself these
I'm
days?
living with Gabriella in Umbria. We finally bought the little vineyard we always dreamed of. It'll be a little while before we know what we're doing, but every day I look at her and this extraordinary new world with all its beauty, and I think, what if I'd given up hope? And missed out on all of this. So we're living each day to the fullest. And we end them all the same way. Sitting together on our terrace with a glass of our wine, which the locals say is almost drinkable now, and watching the sunset over the rolling hillside. And I couldn't be happier.
I'm glad you're happy.
Thank you. I wouldn't be here without you. You too.
Good to see you.
Good to see you too, Rufus.
I go by Rufus now. New start, new name. Oh, and thanks, by the way, for telling Galerius how to treat my rheumatism. I probably would have lost my mind if it wasn't for that willow bark. Although I think your people have a different name for it. Aspirin, I believe. Thank you. Really. Sorry, I'm no good with the mushy stuff.
What are you doing with yourself these days?
I live with Virgil in Rotterdam, not far from where he grew up. It's very modern. Destroyed.
She's she's Scintilla's older sister.
Rebuilt itself.
That's the thing.
Start.
She was in the villa in a... We only spoke to her in the first loop. She was kind of a bitch to us.
One adjustment at a time.
Turns out you were right. The statues really were watching us.
Good to know. Anyway, it was good practice for the new world. Security cameras and smartphones everywhere. Got to stay vigilant.
That is unfortunately true. Good to see you again.
You too. Look us up next time you're in the Netherlands. We're grateful.
We meet again, my friend.
Good to see you, Virgil.
I wanted to thank you personally for getting us out of there. And for helping Rufus come to terms with himself. He may come off a little gruff, but once you get past that, he's a lovely fellow.
What are you doing with yourself these days?
I'm studying to be an architect again, and living with Rufus in our beautiful flat in Rotterdam. Just down the river from Nijmegen, where I grew up. Of course, it's improved immensely since I was there last. Gleaming futuristic buildings and clean streets full of educated, accepting people. You natives of the 21st century have no idea how fortunate you are.
It's good to see you again.
You too. As Rufus said in his own laconic way, if you're ever in the Netherlands, we'd love to show you around. It's the least we could do.
I might take you up on that. Okay, I think we're done. Yeah, they're sisters. That's the thing. That's the whole thing.
There you are. I hope you enjoyed that. Now, there's one more person I wanted to introduce you to. I think you know her.
Sorry if I frightened you. Just a little joke I've been saving for a long, long time.
I recognize that voice.
Allow me to introduce myself properly. I am Proserpina, former goddess of the cycle of life and renewal.
There you go.
Now, a regular mortal. I wanted to meet you in person, and thank you for freeing all these people, and me. I hate to think what would have happened to us without your intervention.
You were whispering to me all along?
Indeed. Suffice it to say that while Pluto was controlling the eyes and ears of each golden statue, I was able to control their tongues, and whisper to you when he was distracted. I am sorry my messages were so cryptic. There were only ever brief windows in which I could speak to you without being detected.
You did what you could, thank you. You created the time loop?
I did. I may have given up my immortality, but I still retain my gifts as the goddess of the cycle of life and renewal. After witnessing Pluto punish countless poor souls over thousands of years, I knew this generation, the final wave, would not survive. So I tried to give them a way to buy more time. A second chance. Rather, as many second chances as they needed to avoid his wrath. So I whispered to Sentius in secret, telling him the prayer required to create a portal in my shrine. I knew the danger of humans being corrupted by godly power, and so I put a safeguard in place. I required the creator of the portal to sacrifice their own life, so that it could only be used selflessly to help others. What I did not anticipate is that Sentius would retain his accumulated memories from each previous day, and as a veteran soldier he had long since shed his fear of death. He quickly discovered that he could, in effect, prolong his own life indefinitely by exploiting the cycle. Of course, once I had taught him the prayer, I could not unteach him, and there was little I could do but wait for someone like you to come along and see him for what he was. We were all fortunate you came along when you did.
What became of Pluto?
I don't know what happened to him. I haven't heard from him, and I rather hope it stays that way.
What became of Charon?
Oh, she inherited dominion over the underworld. Last time we spoke, she was working on a new world of some kind. She wouldn't say what it was, But I'd be surprised if you don't run into her again. I imagine we all will. One day.
Cool, Architect of the Afterlife, fuck yeah. Nice meeting you.
And you. Although it feels like I've known you forever. Oh, and one last thing. Do you remember all those golden statues scattered throughout the city?
Yes.
Good. Because they remember you. Well done, my friend. Of all the heroes who ever journeyed to the underworld and returned, none came close to achieving what you did. Hercules, Orpheus, Theseus, and Aeneas would be proud.
There we go. We did it. We got all the way to the end. And they're like, please, please Instagram that you beat it, please, we need... Yeah, I get it, you're a small team, it's your first game, I understand why you would want... But no, I'm not gonna put it on the gram! Yeah, we did it, good job. Why did it not make any sense? She's fucking in the same time period as everyone else, it made as much sense as meeting everyone else. Okay, so that's that one. I can knock that off of the hard drive now.